Hey guys, it's Conspiracy Todd with today's common sense proof that the moon landings were fake. Okay, today we're going to take a look at Apollo 17 lunar rover tracks on the moon. And everything I'm going to show you is something you can easily find for yourself. I'm going to show you exactly how to find it. Okay, now the first thing we want to do is we want to see the satellite imagery that NASA provided to the world to show that we landed on the moon. And how do we find that? Here's an easy way to do it. Just go to Google Maps, click on it, start zooming out, put it on satellite view. I'm going to show you how to go to the moon. Goodbye Earth and hello moon. Okay, now we're zooming in on the moon. And where do you think they got all this satellite imagery of the moon? Well, look down here and you see it says 2022 NASA. Actually, in 2009, NASA launched the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbital Camera, and it went to the moon, and it took millions of pictures of the moon, and from that we've got all of these satellite images of the moon. Okay, we're going to go visit Apollo 17. It's somewhere around here, and you start clicking in or zooming in, and it pops up, and the Apollo 17 will be right here. There it is. That is where they landed on the moon, or maybe they didn't. This is where Apollo 17 supposedly landed on the moon. You can see the lunar lander. This is the rover over here. You can see these faint tracks of the rover tracks. You can see more faint tracks of the rover tracks. And they seem to end right here. And they end up here. Maybe comes up to here. But you don't see anything beyond that. Well, you might think, well, I guess they didn't go out here. But they supposedly did. Why aren't they showing up on this satellite imagery? Because this is the pictures, or these are the pictures, the satellite imagery of what they are claiming happened on the moon. There's another website we want to go to, Apollo Analyst's Notebook. Okay, we've got our Apollo Analyst Notebook here on the left, and we've got our Google map here on the right. This shows you where the Apollo landings were at. We just went to Apollo 17. Well, if you click on Apollo 17, you can click on Map, and this shows you a map of where they supposedly went on the moon. And you hit Map again, and it'll make it larger here, and then we scoot this over to the side. Okay, so this is a map. The red lines is where the lunar rover went, supposedly on the moon, or did it? If they did go on the moon, we should see these same lunar rover tracks everywhere they went, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. So we're going to zoom in. We're going to make both of these maps look the same. Okay, so here on the right side is the Google Maps NASA imagery of the moon. Nobody else has satellite images of the moon, and it says NASA down here. And on the left side here, we have the Apollo Analyst Notebook, and this shows, the red lines show exactly where the lunar rover went on the moon, okay? And I'm going to try to keep these maps synchronized. Got all of the craters are matched up just right. That crater is that one there, etc. We're going to move this over. We're going to move that one over. Okay, everything is matched up perfectly. Now, where are the tracks? Because right about here is this red line here. We should see tracks going down here. I don't see any tracks. And then they should go straight down here. I don't see any tracks going here. Why? We see them here. We see all these faint tracks here, but we don't see any headed down here. Down here is going to be station 1. So let's move this up like that, and we'll move this up like that. Get everything synchronized, and there should be tracks right about through here. There should be some tracks. The lunar rover tracks are not here. They went down one way and it came up the other direction. There is no evidence of tracks. We go down here. We go down here, keeping these things synchronized. See any evidence of tracks here? Do you see any? I don't see any. Comments below, let me know if you saw any tracks. This is the Station 1 where they went and got a bunch of rocks, supposedly, on the moon. The lunar rover tracks should be in here somewhere, because right here, you can kind of see where they added some footprints and stuff. So this is supposedly station number 1, where they went and got rock samples. Okay? And I don't see any rover tracks in here. Remember what they're supposed to look like? They're supposed to look like these tracks right here. These double tracks. And if they really went to the moon, you would expect to see some tracks in here. Why wouldn't they add those tracks in there? I think somebody got lazy, or they got fired from NASA and they were like, I ain't telling the new guy what to do. Or they retired and forgot to tell the new guy, or the new guy didn't know that we really didn't land on the moon, so the old guy was like, well, shit, I can't tell him. So, anyway, that's one area they went down to. That was Station 1. They also went over here. We're going to look at all these areas that we can. Okay, so this time we're going to head off over here to the right, or to the east. Try to keep these synchronized exactly, so you should be seeing a track that goes somewhere through here. You see any tracks? I don't see any tracks. That almost looks like something there, but I don't see any double tracks like heading this way. And we should see more, you know, right around the lunar rover we saw some very significant ones. So these tracks should be heading, see that right there is the same one as this one. So the lunar rover tracks should be heading up through here. See any rover tracks? We're going to follow this line. And then you got two big boulders here. There's those two big boulders. The lunar rover should be heading between those two big boulders. So the tracks should be somewhere along in here. And then it starts heading up. We're going to, all right, got that synchronized. See those two? The lunar rover should have went up through here somewhere. Do you see any tracks? Somebody forgot to add the tracks at NASA. All right, we're going to pull this down here. All right, we got these synchronized. See that big rock right there is the same rock here. This is taken at different times of the day. This is like in the morning, and then these are in the afternoon. That's why the shadows are different. So they took these lunar reconnaissance orbital camera pictures in the morning time on the moon, and this one was taken in the evening. But there should be a lunar rover track heading up through here, because this is NASA's story about where the lunar rover went. So why don't the pictures that they released to the public show the same thing? I'm not seeing any tracks. Somebody should get fired at NASA for this. And then over here, in Van Serge crater, they came up and went over this way. Or maybe they went the opposite way. I don't know which way they went, but they went one way or the other. But we should see these tracks. And they should be heading up through here. There's a little line here, but they didn't go over there. That little line right through there. Now I think they got out and they walked over here. So they took a panorama. They took about, 10 pictures in a big circle. So they got out of their lunar rover right around here. This is station number 9. I guess they went over here and put some explosives out and took another panorama over here. So you should be seeing footprints over here and everything. But I'm not seeing any. This might be something. But they definitely didn't put the lunar rover tracks in, from what I can tell. And then it heads off this direction. Do you see any lunar rover tracks here? Keeping this synchronized. So the lunar tracks, rover tracks should be heading this way, or there should be some in this area. There should be right around here. If you follow the red line on this side, there should be rover tracks on this side. And they head off. There's that double crater there. Keep this synchronized here. And no rover tracks. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this double one here is that double one here. That one is that one, and this one is this one. So the rover came down through here. So there should be some rover tracks somewhere along through here. Okay, this string of craters is that string of craters. So you should be some rotor tracks in here. Stop me if you see any rover tracks. Okay, these are all matched up. So the rover went through here. I don't see any rover tracks. Okay, there we go. Should be some rover tracks along through here. All right, this is the same. So there's that rock. There's that rock. Should be a rover track through here somewhere. And remember what those rover tracks should look like. Should be just two little thin lines next to each other. Should be some rover tracks through here. See this triple one right here is that one. So let's move it up and match up there. That crater is this one here. Let's zoom in some more. That's as zoomed in as it'll go. But should be right through here. Rover tracks. Right. Supposedly they went right across here in this area. Now this is probably an estimate, so somewhere in here you should be able to see some rover tracks. So all these rover tracks are missing. Okay, here we are. So yeah, it should go through here. Should see some rover tracks here. And then we get back. See, that double one is this one. So the rover tracks should come through here. Should go over the top of this one. But anyways, here we start seeing some tracks again. But I think these tracks are where they supposedly walked on the moon. So the guy that was in charge of putting in the tracks of where they walked got all his job done. And then the guy who put the rover tracks in, he did part of his work. And then he either got lazy or got fired or died. I don't know what happened to him, but he didn't finish the job. He just put these in right around the lunar rover or the lunar lander, and then he said, "Well, I'm done." Okay, let's look at him going the other direction here. We got this synchronized here. Obviously, that's the same crater as that one. So, see, this group of craters is that one. So there should be some rover tracks going this way. I think this is where they walked. So yeah, the guy who did the astronaut footprints on the moon did a good job. The guy who was supposed to do the lunar rover tracks, he did not. Now here's a spot where they supposedly went over the same area twice. So you would expect that to be at least where you could see it, right? And okay, so that rock and crater is the same one here. So the rover track should be through here somewhere. We don't see anything, or I'm not seeing anything. And then we get over here. Now this is where they're not giving us any information. This is the end of the high definition satellite imagery, and I don't see any rover tracks. So we've looked at all the rover tracks that, or we've looked at all the areas that we can see where they should be visible. Okay, so this is the map of where all they went, and you've also got over here where you can go and look at the stations. So the station 1 was so this down here was station 1, 1A, because they changed it a little bit. You can go here to this tab, stations. This is station 1, and they went over here at station 1. They took these two panoramas, and on this panorama, you just click on it. It loads, and I'm going to show you what the lunar rover tracks supposedly looked like from station 1. Okay, so here is the panorama that they took from station 1, and we'll just zoom across here. You can see what the rover tracks supposedly looked like on the moon. Here. There's supposedly the lunar rover on the moon. Rover tracks here. Okay, and here is the tracks leading up to station 1. You would think that would be, because you got the front and the front and the back tires ran over this twice. You know, the first the front and then the back tires. That looks pretty pretty disturbed. Should be able to make out something from up above. Oh, and over here we have the that's supposedly the lunar module over here, and then the mountains in the background. What I think they did here, in my opinion, they found a place in the desert. This is a place in the desert here on Earth. They had unmanned spaceships that landed on the moon, and they took pictures of what it looked like from there. They added in this backdrop. This is the actual picture of the moon. But this right here is an actual picture of out in the desert somewhere, wherever they filmed it. But anyway, this is the lunar rover tracks that they supposedly made on the moon. Now let's compare that with Apollo 11. All right, so that is Apollo 17. Now, let's zoom out to the moon. Apollo 11 landed right over here somewhere. This right here is West Crater. And they landed right next to Little West Crater. Right here, Little West Crater. And this is the Apollo 11 lunar module. And they supposedly, this is all where they walked around on the moon and walked in this area. That's all they went. And then this right here is where Neil Armstrong walked over here one time, took some pictures, and then he walked back, took a slightly different path and walked back. And let me show you what those footprints look like to show or to make such a distinct footpath. March to the Moon. This is one of my favorite places to find individual pictures. We want picture number 5961. We're going to download a medium-sized picture. We're going to open it up. And these are the footprints. See the boot print here, another one here. You see a boot print right here, another one here. Boot print here, another one here. Like a boot print here, 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 here. And that, probably another one here and here. And then over here is where they supposedly disturbed the soil enough to where you could see it from space. But to me, this doesn't look like enough disturbance to cause that distinct of a line in the dirt where you can see it from space. I mean, I would think this line would be very indistinct. He's making separate footprints. It's not like he's dragging his feet through the sand to get over here and then dragging them back, kicking sand everywhere. He's just stepping, 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 stepping. And if you can see those individual footprints showing up this distinct on the moon, how come in Apollo 17 all of a sudden you can't see any of the lunar rover tracks? Doesn't make a lot of sense. These tracks right here. You would think you would be able to see those from space more distinctly than you would be able to see Neil Armstrong's boot prints when he walked over to Little West Crater and took that one picture and then walked back. Now, you know, he walked on it twice, but like some of these areas, the lunar rover drove on it twice and you don't see anything. And you would think that this would be more distinct and more easily visible in the satellite imagery than the footprints. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Tell me what you think. Do you think that the lack of lunar rover tracks on Apollo 17 is an indication of fakery? Or do you think NASA has some perfectly good explanation of why you cannot see those lunar rover tracks? Anyway, let me know what you think. Please comment below. Please like and subscribe. And thanks for watching.